Okay, well, hello and welcome to this shitty podcast that I'm about to record. Honestly, I just came up with the idea of this podcast like when I was in the shower a few minutes ago. Um, but anyways, hello. I am Preston. You probably found this podcast through my Twitter handle. What's the name again? I don't even remember, to be honest. It's like okay, anyways, as you can see, it's really scuffed. I really don't care. I made this separate account just so that I can do anything I want, not care about being judged. I mean, if people do find out my other Twitter handle or my main name that I go by, then it'll be kind of awkward. But I mainly want to use this name as a sort of a way to just do anything I kind of like, not worry about anything, experiment and stuff. And yeah, on this podcast, it's not even a podcast. I'm just gonna be speaking for quite a quite a while, I guess. Without really a script. I don't really have a script. I have a few things jotted down, but yeah, nothing really planned out. So don't really yeah, you see, I'm trash at this, but yeah, don't really expect anything from me or from this podcast. Honestly, it's kind of just like a diary that I'm using for now. Maybe a few years into the future, I'd look back and see how stupid I am and that I'm no longer this stupid. Hopefully, that is. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I guess we just go straight into it. I'm just gonna do it like a school report, read out the questions and answer it, I guess. So, um, I don't know if I'm gonna put this in the title or not, but this episode that sounds so weird. But anyways, this episode, I'm mainly gonna be talking about art. Me myself as an artist and how I feel about art in general. It's just art, man. Um, yeah. If you guys can't tell already, I am an illustrator. I mean, I guess I haven't posted anything, um, yet on this new name that I'm using, but I am an artist, mainly an anime illustrator, but I definitely do want to get into like more industrial art. Um, but first, let me introduce myself again, or more detailed. I'm Preston. I am currently a American is sophomore. I'm a sophomore high school student. Yes, and I've been doing art for roughly 2 years. More seriously for 1 year. But I say more seriously. To be honest, I've just been fucking around doing drawing anime titties. To be honest, but if I was to say when I really seriously I knew I was gonna do art in the future. When I seriously actually wanted to improve art was probably around a few weeks ago, to be honest. It's exactly why I created this new name so then I can post stuff that I'm not used to posting without really caring about people judging me and not really caring about likes and follows, retweets, that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, so that's basically about it. Um, I I want to do concept art or illustration in the future. It's super generic. Obviously, a lot of people want to do that, but I just think it's cool, to be honest. um, yeah, so I guess we just get into this presentation. Yeah, presentation, just reading off. It's like a slideshow thing. It's like dumb, whatever. Number one, what do I think about art in general? Okay, yeah, I haven't really thought anything. I just jot down some random shit. I'm just gonna talk about it. um, I think art's cool. I mean, obviously, I love art. I haven't. I like a lot of artists. They're like, oh, I've been doing art since in elementary school, or I've been doing art since I was like orphan or orphan. What? Where did I come? You see, I'm just okay. Whatever, man. I'm like what's the name? Toddler, not orphan. What? I don't know why I got those two names mixed up. Anyways, yeah. So like a lot of people have been doing art for a long time, but for me, it's kind of lame. I got into art because of anime. I guess a lot of people get into art because of anime, but I've only recently discovered anime like 2-3 years ago, And it was honestly at that point where I was like, yo, I want to draw stuff. I want to draw these characters. I want to draw these sceneries. And especially when I first saw an anime poster, it was I don't remember it. I think it was an SAO poster or something. It was really lame, but I saw it at a store or something, and Kirito was just like swinging his sword with some like black mist in the background or something. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was super cool, and I really wanted to do that, you know. And so, how did I like art? Like, I think for a lot of people, it's a hobby, right? A lot of people think that it's just for fun. I mean, obviously, there's that deep rooted culture that, you know, you can't really make a living through art. You can't. Art's like not prestigious, bro. You gotta like do physics. You gotta do chemistry. You gotta do engineering, computer science. Like, you know, but honestly, like I bet a lot of people like who's like in the art industry would say that, you know, the art industry is like an actual industry, you know. There are jobs out there. I mean, if you're talking about fine arts, that's a different topic, but I'm talking more about like modernized, not modern art, that's like too, I don't know, I don't know the terms, but basically, you know, illustration, character design, those sort of fun stuff. Well, to me, they're fun. And and yeah, there's a lot of jobs out there, to be honest. I really don't see why there's still this stigma that, you know, art is for losers, art is for those who get bad grades. Bro, I have like straight A's. I mean, I am an Asian in an American school, so I do have that sort of culture of studying put into me, but I do have all A's, but 100%, like, I'm not even kidding you, I 100% want to do art in the future. And so, yeah, I really, really don't like that sort of culture. I mean, obviously, it's not going to change anytime soon. Nobody even cares about art except for those who are into art. So, I just, I mean, I guess it's a good thing for me. It's less competition, right? Like, the less people who want to do art, the less people I have to compete with, right? But I don't know. There's just this sort of pride, not kind of, but yeah, that's how I don't even know. Like, the question's what I think about art in general. What am I even talking? Anyways, I don't care anymore. But yeah, I think that's about it for that. Yeah, I think that's about it. Number two, what I think about my art. I'm trash. Like, I'm actually trash. Um, I have 2 years to get good, and honestly, 1.5 year. I need the last half to like create a portfolio and do competitions, stuff like that, to get into art college. But I suck. It's actually so, I don't know. It's really depressing to me. Like, I bet a lot of artists feel the same. You know, it's like you like a lot of people are like, oh, you always think that your art is bad, but then you think somebody else's art is good, and vice versa. But I want to be completely honest with myself. I suck at art. I'm only decent at anime. That's because I've been doing only anime for the past year. Um, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing something that you like. You know, I like at least doing anime didn't divert me away from art and didn't make me lose my love for art. But I really, really wish that, you know, I had the mindset of going to an art college sooner, so I could, you know, work on my realism, perspective, you know, all of the core basics. I don't really have any of that at the moment. Um, I always, to be honest, I'm not even gonna lie. I lie a lot about my skills. Like, I don't say that I'm like the best, you know. I don't say I'm like, oh, I'm so good. I am the best anime artist you can ever find out there. But, you know, I do kind of say, oh, I do understand perspective. Oh, I do understand color theory. Just because I looked at a few videos about them doesn't really mean that I'm good at it. Um, it's, yeah. So I really want to improve. I know a lot of artists do want to improve. There's probably not a single artist who loves art and doesn't want to improve, right? But I don't know. It always feels fake whenever my friends or people that I know say, "Wow, your art is so good. It's so nice," or stuff like that. I mean, like maybe they do actually think that, but they're just trying to be nice, right? I mean, maybe I do see myself too low, but I doubt it. So I don't know. It just feels really fake, and I just sometimes I don't know if everybody has this sort of feeling, but I just really really want them to be straight honest with me, and even better if they could like say, "Oh, I don't like this part, I don't like that part." But I mean, my friends don't understand art too much. The people I know online are obviously, they don't want a lot, like they don't want to make somebody upset, because getting drama over the internet's like obviously dumb, right? But I don't know. I'm just waiting for that one person where I can just, I can shit on their work, they can shit on my work, no hard feelings at all, just improvement. And when if that does happen, then that you've truly like actually improved, or you've made it, when the person actually like says that, "Oh, I see you've improved. I see I like this part of this piece." Stuff like that, because when they do that, and that they're completely honest, I think that's much more worth it than just like all of the small little comments of, "Oh, this is so nice. Oh, you're so good at art." you know. And yeah, that'll bring me to my next topic, which I wrote down is, how do you improve at art? Honestly, I write "how do you improve at art" as if I'm gonna speak to somebody and like give them a lecture about how to be good, and then they're gonna go off and become the best artist in the world. But to be honest, this "how do you improve" question is more for myself, because I've caught myself like critiquing and like pointing out things and helping and giving tips to a lot of other artists when I suck, right? And to be honest, I don't even think that my the advice I give out is bad per se. I mean, I guess they're a little bit generic because I don't have the experience to actually say something useful because I suck myself, right? But I guess I just kind of want to repeat it here for myself. I want to tell you guys, I mean, if there's anybody watching or listening, I want to tell you guys how to improve, which can therefore solidify my own way of improving. So then I can tell myself that this is what I tell to other people. So if I'm not wrong, then I should follow it too. So, okay, let's start with the most basic of the basic. How do you improve? In my opinion, the biggest motivator for improving is just liking what you do, not getting too exhausted. In my opinion, I feel like this is like the core of like being able to get good at anything. I know a lot of artists who cram, they grind, they do art 24/7. And if they're that type of person and they can do it and they're still having fun, that's fine. But if you want to try and follow them because you're like, "Oh, this artist is super good and he does like 20 hours of art a day." Obviously that's not true, but and you correlate the two things, right? You're like, a good artist spend a lot of time. And yeah, that's probably true, right? They spend a lot of time, so they're probably better at art than you are because you're not trying yet. But I feel like if doing that demotivates you, makes you feel like it's a chore, like homework. I used to love maths, but once maths became a like super intensive study at school, and there's a lot of pressure, stress, and stuff like that on that, I really lost it. Like I hated maths. It's like such a depressing class for me now, and I really don't want that to happen to art. I'm very lucky that a lot of my art teachers are very nice. They support me and they understand a lot about art and things. So yeah, I just, and also like not only like will it just keep you like on the track that you wanted to go on, right? You want to do art, so you stay doing art because you like it and you're not getting burnt out, you're not getting stressed out, and there's no pressure. I mean, there's no pressure to the extent where you're gonna give up, right? But furthermore, it also like it gives you that sort of enthusiasm, whenever you see an anime, whenever you read a manga, whenever you see an artwork in a gallery or something, you get that burst of motivation. I don't think it's only me who, like, whenever they see a good artwork, they're like, I want to do that someday. And you just get this motivation boost. And I feel like you can only get this motivation boost whenever you're enjoying art, whenever you love art. Otherwise, it's obviously going to turn into that sort of depressed, that depressed feeling. You're like, I'll never get that good, or do I really need to spend all this time to get that good? It's like when you can compare test scores with your classmates and they get higher than you and you feel sad, right? But if you look away from just like the number at the test, right? I got an 80. Oh, he got a 100. And you're like, oh, I'm so sad. If you look away from that and you're enjoying the thing that you're doing, and then you see them get in the 100 and they're happy, right? You understand how much more happy you'd feel if you got that 100. And I feel like that's what gives you the boost to want to improve and want to get better. Other than being sure that you want to be sure, I can't speak, being sure that you love art and you enjoy it and you don't get stressed out. I think obviously that only goes to some extent. If you love art and you love it so much but you just don't put in the effort, all the motivation boosts that you're getting just goes to waste, then you never get good, right? So you obviously need to integrate some form of hard work, practice. A lot of people say practice makes perfect. I bet a lot of other people, like, on their podcasts have said this, but practice really does make perfect. If it doesn't, then I don't know what to say. I'd just be sad because I'd be losing my way. But you really need practice. And like, when I say practice, it's not like, oh, getting out your tablet or getting out your notebook or sketchbook and doodling for an hour a day. Obviously, that is good. That is a form of practicing, right? But if you really wanted to get better, you need to have a purpose for whatever you're practicing. Things come to mind, like the most basic things like perspective, shading, color theory, anatomy, all of those painfully hard and annoying things to practice and do, right? But you really need to have the mindset that, oh, what am I doing wrong? What am I bad at? Oh, I'm bad at color theory. Oh, I'm bad at perspective. Then you really need to try and get better at those things if you want to get better. It's pretty straightforward, right? But you need to hammer it down into your head and make it a sort of mindset where you want to get better, you have to try and you have to work in the direction that you're lacking. And yeah, and that's like all of the like very basic stuff people have probably told you before, but in my opinion, I think they are super important. They do make up, like, I've had these sort of thoughts even before I've like watched those, like, what are they called, like those podcasts or those speeches by like streamers or something. They're like, oh, you have to do this, that to get better, and they're probably not wrong, right? But I've like, what am I trying to, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Basically, do it and you'll get better, probably, hopefully. That's how I'm gonna try and approach it, at least. I mean, I say all of this, but at the moment, I procrastinate. I get lazy. And yeah, that's why I probably haven't been improving. But yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm doing this podcast. Hopefully, putting that out there will put some pressure on myself, like good pressure on myself to do the things I say and keep my word and prove that my theory isn't just theory and that it's actual reality. And other than that, I think one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is just inspiration. You know, you always need inspiration whenever you draw, whenever you paint, whenever you do compositions. You need inspiration for what you're doing. For the past year, inspiration, obviously I've been doing anime, right? So whenever I think of something, I just type that thing in Google and say, whoa, I like this pose, I like that background, I like this, that, and kind of just mash it together. It's kind of plagiarism, I understand that, but you know, I guess it's the easiest way to get things rolling, right? But obviously it's not the correct thing to do. And so the correct thing to do, in my opinion, and the most effective thing to do would be to, a lot of people say this, but go outside. You know, obviously during COVID-19, obviously if you want to stay inside indoors, it's like understandable, right? But I feel like a lot of the things that other people come up with, the original of the original, they all came from something that's not already created, right? Google's gonna have all the compositions and all the poses and everything that you'd ever imagine, right? But they all came from somewhere, and that somewhere is obviously in real life. So if you can somehow get inspiration from real life, then you'd probably be set, right? And if you want to be able to do that, you have to practice. And so getting inspiration from something in real life, that's not exactly how you envisioned it in your head, but seeing something in real life compared to seeing it on your screen and creating something, there's a massive difference. Probably at the very beginning, at the very start, when you're first starting out, it's probably easier to see something on your screen very close to you, and being able to judge the proportions one for one because it's right there in front of you. But if you see a scenery in real life compared to a scenery in on your computer screen, the atmosphere is completely different because obviously the world's more realistic than it is on your screen. And so being able to get that atmosphere and then enhancing it is most likely what people used to do to, create these sort of nice, cool, atmospheric, scenery, environments, or characters that you see online now. So I should probably do this more too. Just go outside, or whenever you're walking around outside, look around. I mean, who the hell cares if you look like a clown, just like turning your head around looking at the sky? Who the hell cares, right? You're doing this for yourself. Just don't give a shit about other people, and just take it in, remember a scene or two, ingrain it in your memory, and maybe you can recall that, or maybe it changes slightly in your head, but that's okay. And I feel like that's the first step in, inspiration. Inspiration, how I talked about motivation earlier. I said looking at a good piece of art gives you that motivation boost. I mean, you can definitely get that motivation boost from seeing this wonderful scenery, seeing this wonderful, design or a car or something outside, and it just sparks your motivation. It's definitely in the same realm. And even better, you don't need to compare yourself with anyone because it's the real life thing. Yeah, and that's really a lot. That's really the most I wanted to talk about. How to improve. And another thing I wanted to point out, it's basically kind of the same as how you improve, but it's about art mindset. I've listened to a few podcasts, and they've been talking about how um, it's not a good mindset when you compare yourself with other people, or it's not a good mindset when you like whenever you focus in on one singular thing and miss out on all the rest. But in my opinion, the best mindset for art in general, like not just for getting better, like just producing art, seeing and looking and observing art. I think the best mindset is honestly just to have fun, like pretend, well, not pretend, like actually like look at it as if it was a anime, as if it was a manga. It was there for your entertainment. It was there to make you feel a sort of way. And whenever you look at things like that, it okay, my mind's gone blank, but I okay, whenever you look at things like that, like mm, yeah, you see, this is why I said, like, I'm gonna fuck up and I don't really care. I might care and cut it out. I'll probably not cut it out. I don't give a shit. But I just, you need that mindset. You need that mindset. That's okay. If I don't have a reason, that means it's not a good mindset, right? But I feel like it theoretically works. Because if you see things as like something that you enjoy, something that is entertaining, then you wouldn't compare it to anyone. You wouldn't feel like any different way than how you would feel by yourself, how you would react. Because if you looked at let's say you looked at Picasso, right? You looked at Picasso and you heard like all these stories about how great Picasso was, and then you see his actual artwork. It's a bunch of triangles, rectangles. And if you can't appreciate that, to be honest, that's fine. If you don't understand it, if you can't understand it, it's your way of seeing that piece of artwork. So like not everybody has to agree on things and look at things the same way. Otherwise, the art industry would be so dull and boring right now. But just look at things in your own way. Look at things as if it wasn't like as if it wasn't there to be looked at a certain way. Look at it in your own way, interpret it in your own way, and that's sort of the mindset that I feel like. I don't know if it's correct, but I feel like you should look at it that way, and you'd probably appreciate a lot more artwork, and you'd have a lot more fun. Like, yeah, fun, to be honest. It's just more fun. And being more fun then, leads you to be more motivated, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that was kind of a shit show. I just like mind blanked in the middle there. It's like when I when I do a presentation at school and everybody's staring at me. Whatever. Okay, the last thing I have jotted down is careers. So yeah, okay. So the art industry is basically saturated with concept art, concept artists. Like, concept art itself isn't saturating the industry. It's concept artists, and illustrators. It's the two most competitive positions, and I want to do one of them. It's kind of, I'm a lost cause. Anyways, it's dominated by those. I'm not super sure about the fine arts sort of area, so I'm not gonna talk about that too much. But I know that fine arts has a lot of stuff too. But yeah, the art industry, it's like really, really saturated. It's super hard. You need to actually be good, and I think that's why there's a lot of pressure, because if you're decent at coding, at programming, and you know like how to program, you'd probably find a job, right? But for art, even if you're decent, you understand concepts, you can do it to a decent level. If you're not standing out, you'd probably, be one of those not typical, stereotypical, starving artists, and you have to do commissions on the street, blah 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 blah. You have to be good in order to get a good job, and most importantly, do the things that you want to do. I don't want to like fucking like design some weird clothes for this unknown clothing brand. I want to draw characters. I want to draw illustrations that look cool, have this sort of atmosphere, and hype people up. So I probably want to go into the gaming industry, or entertainment industry, right? But I can't do that if I'm bad at it, right? You need to be good at what you want to do, especially in the art industry. Obviously, I'm not saying that every other industry is, whoa, it's so easy, blah 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 blah. But the art industry, there's three levels of art skill, in my opinion. So the first level, like the very bottom level, is like the beginner. You see a lot of people on Twitter, on Instagram, posting like, I'm gonna be completely honest here, not the best artwork, right? But obviously it's understandable. They're just getting into art, or they take art as a hobby. They don't really care about it too much. They just find it fun, which is completely fine. So they post it online, and it's not the best. And so there's this certain skill level. There's a certain like portion of people who just it's not that good. But then there's this sudden jump. Like, there's no in between. There's this sudden jump from the first level to the second level. The second level is the intermediate. And in this level, you can see a gradual rise in skill level and how good the artist is from the bottom of the second level to the top of the second level. Like, as you go up the spectrum, you can clearly see. Like, as for like the first section, they're all kind of like the same sort of vibe, that they're beginners and it's not the best. But the second is where things get like, it's where you like start comparing yourself, where people start comparing you, where your art's not the worst, it's not the best either, but there's a spectrum, and you can easily compare yourself with other people and say, am I better than him? No. Yes. And at the very top is the level that you want to be at when you enter an industry. This is the level where it's super, super hard to tell which artist is better than which, because the quality is there. So at this point, every single person at this section is producing like insane artwork. They look insane from, it doesn't really matter from what sort of part of art you're doing, like concept art, environmental art. It doesn't matter, and you can tell that artist is very, very good, and you can't compare it very well. You're like, is this artist better than this artist in the third section? You can't really tell. So at this point, you want to be at that point, because when you're at that point, I'm gonna be completely honest, it just takes some luck to get the career that you sort of want, right? Or get to the place that you sort of want. I mean, obviously if you have bad luck, then but you know that you've made it once you've gotten to this point where you start comparing yourself, or I mean, I guess you comparing yourself isn't the best way. If other people start comparing you with others and they can't tell a clear deciding winner, then you've made it. And at this point, it's just all about the inspiration that I was talking about earlier. The inspiration that you get, create something unique to stand out. But you're artistically and skill wise, you're there. and that's the point where you want to get to, and that's the point where a lot of people are struggling to get to. They're always on that spectrum, that second section, where you're where you can tell that somebody is worse than you or is better than you. And it's a long grind, man. It's a long grind. It's super depressing. Like even with all that motivation, oh, I love art sort of thing, it's super super depressing to know that, like when you're in that second section, that people are better than you. When you're in the first section, you don't care. You're getting started. You understand that you're a beginner and you understand that you're bad. But when you're in the second section, you really want to get better. You want to move up that spectrum, but it's hard. It's really hard. And you want to reach the third section, which is even harder. There's this massive jump in skill between each of these sections. And, I am just a fucking 15-year-old kid spouting nonsense. I'm almost 16, so, don't treat me too much like a kid. Okay, anyways, I'm cringe. But this is what I truly believe, and I do believe that there's sort of this social structure. It's not even a structure, it's just a ranking system, I guess. I've read too many mangas, but I truly believe that there's sort of this thing, when you look at it from afar. And yeah, that's all the points that I've written down. I don't know, this quality is absolute ass. It's just for me. I'll probably listen back to it and disagree with myself for a lot of things, maybe agree, and hopefully I'll, all the things that I say, I'll actually do it, and don't just say it for the sake of, being cool on a podcast, because, yeah, and, that's about it for what I've written in mind. As I said, if you found this, it's probably from my Twitter, Runa something, I forgot. You see, it's probably bad that I forget my own name on Twitter, but I'm just putting this out here. I'll probably do this sort of podcast sort of thing once a month. Like realistically, probably once a month. I want to do it once a week, maybe. I mean, I it's zero effort. I just sit down and just talk about a bunch of shit. I'm being cringe right now. So I am just gonna go ahead and end this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you've made it this far, obviously I did say that this is mainly for me, so I'm not really gonna care too much about quality. But if you still enjoy it and you're still sticking around, I really appreciate it. Another thing is, if you do find out who I actually am, just keep it to yourself. It would be nice if I could, section out the two, like my online avatar and like this more realistic avatar where I'm super honest, super transparent with all the things I think about. Thanks for listening, and maybe I'll do this again, hopefully. I don't know.